Well, hi there, and welcome to our Sunday song time. Yes, and my first opportunity to say happy month to you. Yes, first Sunday here in October of 2025. And I have a song for you. It goes back to the 1870s. And the other night, we were gathered, a few of us, just for a time of prayer up in Wellesley, Ontario. Yes, the church there in Wellesley. And my friend Wolf Maydell, my old friend Wolf Maydell, going to dedicate this song to him. Wolf came originally from Germany, and he started singing this song in German. And he said, "Oh, we should do this one sometime." And I thought, well, I can attempt it in English at least. The song is called "Let the Lower Lights Be Burning." And like I said, it goes back to the 1870s. Now, have you ever been to a lighthouse? One of my favorite places to go, by the way, it's a place up near Lake Huron here in Ontario, Point Clark. They have a nice lighthouse there. Southampton has one. Or if you get a chance, if you go to Tobermory, up there at the very end of the Bruce Trail, you can take a boat across to Flower Pot Island. And they'll let you actually go into this lighthouse that's there. And the lighthouse, of course, was set up to prevent ships from hitting the rocks when they sailed in at night. It can be very treacherous up on the Great Lakes. You know, we think about the oceans and that sort of thing, but the Great Lakes, I mean, well, remember the song from Gordy Lightfoot, The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald? Even in the 1970s there, treacherous, storms come up. And so lighthouses are extremely vital, really, for people who make their living out on the seas or the oceans or even the lakes. And, if you go to the lighthouse on Flower Pot Island, I mean, they have it all set up. You can actually go into the little house where the lighthouse keeper lived. Yeah, some guy used to live there in the lighthouse, and it was his job to keep the light burning on the lighthouse. And so he would, raise his family right there at the lighthouse. And I guess every night he went up and started the fires that would light to allow the ships to come in safely. But along with the light at the top of a lighthouse, there were what they called the lower lights. And what these were lights that were set down near the water, and they were usually in a line, and they sort of showed, kind of like when you land in an airplane at night, the pilot's looking for those lights to show where the landing strip is. Well, it was the same for people out on the sea. There were these lower lights because while the lighthouse was shining, sometimes the light didn't actually show where all the rocks were. And it could be very treacherous. In fact, there was an evangelist from back in the 1800s. His name was D.L. Moody. Some of you have heard of D.L. Moody. He founded the Moody Bible Institute in Chicago. Oh yeah, they used to have this magazine called Moody Monthly. Yeah, and so I remember getting my Moody Monthly magazine. Yeah. And I remember just telling someone one time. I just sort of said, "Yeah, I get Moody Monthly." And she said, "Well, isn't there something you can take for that?" But anyway, D.L. Moody, great evangelist back in his day. And he told a story one time about a shipwreck. And because there was a ship that was out in a stormy sea, a stormy night, and they could see the lighthouse, but the captain said, "Where are the lower lights?" And so the bosun or whatever, I don't know all the terms for all the different seamen that are out there on the boat, but he said, "We can't see any lower lights." But they were in a terrible storm. And so the captain said, "Well, we gotta make it. We've got to make the attempt. We've got to try and get to shore anyway." Well, the ship didn't make it. No, it crashed on the rocks because the lower lights weren't burning. Oh, and by the way, if you go to Flower Pot Island up there at Tobermory, you can actually see some of the shipwrecks, some of the remains of the ships that are underneath the lake out there. And so, in telling the story, Mr. Moody made this application. He said, "Brethren, the Master will take care of the great lighthouse of salvation." That's how they talked back then. "But it is our job," he said, "to keep the lower lights burning, to guide men safely to him." Well, there was a man who wrote a number of hymns back in the day. His name was Philip Bliss. He heard Mr. Moody say that, and he thought, I'm going to write this song. And he wrote the song called "Let the Lower Lights Be Burning," because you needed people to light those lower lights to guide the ships, and you and I are to help guide people too. All right, I'll mention a little bit about that at the end of the song, because technically I guess I've really given you all my talking points here at the beginning, before I do the song. But anyway, I want to do this song for you. And I'll try it in English there, Wolf. I'll let you sing it in German. But it's called "Let the Lower Lights Be Burning." Brightly beams our Father's mercy from his light house evermore, but to us he gives the keeping of the lights along the shore. Let the lower lights be burning, send a gleam across the wave. Some poor fainting, struggling sailor you may rescue, you may save. Dark the night of sin has settled, loud the angry billows roar. Eager eyes are watching, longing for the lights along the shore. Let the lower lights be burning, send a gleam across the wave. Some poor fainting, struggling sailor you may rescue, you may save. Let the lower lights be burning, send a gleam across the wave. Some poor fainting, struggling sailor you may rescue, you may save. Let the lower lights be burning. And we have an opportunity, to do that. Well, all right, I do these songs and put them up here on Facebook and YouTube, and send a few out to some people who aren't online. And just to encourage people, And you and I have that responsibility. It comes from the Lord to help people find, the light that we've found, the light of Jesus. And of course, okay, I do these songs, and I know some people out there are watching it, and they think, yeah, that's kind of nice. Well, he did mess up that one C chord there, but but there are some people, okay, first of all of us, we're all looking to find ways to help us in this life. And in the message of the gospel, we mostly talk about the next life, okay, how to have a good eternity when you leave this life, because we're all going to. And so Jesus came to save us, ultimately, from our sin, from the wrath of God, all those kinds of things. But also, as we live from day to day, we all try to find ways to help us. And so for a lot of people, like I say, they maybe watched some of this, and I appreciate it if you did. We'll share the message of Jesus with some people, and they'll say, okay, hey, listen, it's a free country, that's fine for you, but not for me. But then there are others, some people out there in the darkness, looking for the safe way back home. And as we share that with them, they'll come along. Yeah, they'll come along. And listen, I don't hold any contempt for anybody that decides, oh, okay, I've had enough of this guy. But listen, you have people in your life, maybe people you haven't even met yet, and they're looking for the light. And you have it. I have it. You have it too if you're a follower of Jesus. He said we're all the light of the world. And so the scripture verse that this song's based on, from way back in 1870s, 1871, 72, somewhere around there, but it comes from Jesus' words in the Sermon on the Mount. And that's what I want to leave you with here. Matthew 5:16. Let your light shine. Let your light shine before others, so they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. As D.L. Moody kind of said, God's responsible for the salvation of, we can't save ourselves, and so he's that lighthouse. But you and I, we have the responsibility for those lights that will show the path to the ultimate light. Keep letting your light shine. You don't know. Someone out there struggling, fainting even with that struggle. You may rescue. You may lead them home. And may God bless you as we start off the month of October here in 2025.